Five, four, three, two, one.
I've been interviewing a lot of people, honestly, here. And, your name just keeps getting popped up as far as just the work. And I was like, I need to get in touch with Butch and just kind of learn a little history from him if I can.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, man. Long time.
Yeah. And actually, Philadelphia music is some of my favorite music growing up as a child.
Okay.
And so just to know you were part of that whole thing it's an honor and pleasure to be speaking with you. Honestly, how did music start for you at the early age here, Butch?
Well, it wasn't my first love. I'm a jock. I'm an athlete, and when I was 3 years old, my father taught me how to run the tape recorder for the church because he was the organist and he directed the choir, and he always wanted to record the choir. So he couldn't play the organ and direct and run the tape recorder. So he taught me how to turn it on, where to place the mic and how to edit. So I learned that at a real young age about recording. And although I was just trying to help my father, I didn't think I was learning nothing,
Mm-hmm.
I did that for the church for a lot of years, and helped with the music ministry and I brought in the sound system and everything, but that I was just doing that to help. I had no idea I was going to be in the music business. My brother Jimmy was the one that was really into the music. Jimmy and Billy and John, them guys, they're demon musicians. They're real talented, and that's what they were doing from, elementary school and into adulthood.
Gotcha.
So I got involved, just trying to help them. Playing a little ball, I had made a couple dollars, and they were Jimmy was trying to record. He needed money for studio time and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he would ask me, and I would, give him money to help him. He kept asking me. So finally I said, okay, I'm gonna give you the last bit of money, but I'm gonna come in the studio with you and make sure that this gets finished. So I went in and we finished it up, and that was the Ingram Kingdom album.
Right.
And we released that on Nashville Records out of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And from there I started, producing other groups, and I just never stopped that.
I got a question for you, Butch. At that time, was this in New Jersey or was it in Philly?
It was in both because, I didn't have a studio, and I was using Jesse James' studio. I was using Frank Virtue. I was using Sigma once in a while. There was a studio in Jersey called Quad where we did a lot of work. I used whatever studio I could get.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jersey and Philly is like the same place. I'm 5 minutes from Philadelphia.
Right.
Plus, what was going on? Most of the Jersey talent was making the Philadelphia music.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. What year would you say this was? About 76?
Yeah.
Around 76. Who were some inspirations for you at that time?
There was different producers and arrangers around,
Right.
That were really, doing tremendous work, and they got very little credit. But being in the business and knowing who was, doing stuff like Tommy Bell, doing different stuff and being creative. The key was having the outlet. A lot of people were creative; they just didn't have the outlet.
So you say the Ingram Kingdom came out in 76, I see.
Yeah.
That was the first project. Was that a hard piece to put together?
Well, not really. It took a while to complete because I wasn't really on top of, there's a business that has to be tended to that's outside of the creative realm.
Right.
You can be creative and write and be a great musician and all that, But unless there is a marketing and promotion plan and a way to deal with retail and make it available and make people know about it, that's a separate business altogether.
Right.
And it's frustrating to an artist that writes or plays an instrument or sings, because they do what they do very well, but they can't get it to the general public, so it gets frustrating for them. So I concentrated on making sure that I was trying to deal with people that understood that after it was created, what has to happen next has to happen, or the creation just dies.
Right.
So I was fairly persistent with that, and I was kind of blessed. I don't like to say lucky. I was blessed to make contacts with the right people that could help get the exposure that we needed. We traveled all over the world. We toured.
How was the method of contact? Did you send letters, faxes? How was the method of contact at that time?
Well, there was a guy that he actually was one of the owners for the Kentucky Colonels in the ABA. And when if somebody knows who you are, it's easy to get a meeting than if you just send stuff in, and
Okay.
they got to listen to it, And I called him and said, I got something I want you to hear. So he was open to it.
Gotcha.
That's how we got it placed.
Got you. And was the Society Hill Records started at that time? Was it created at that time?
No. The Society Hill Records didn't start until '79.
Okay.
Yeah, I had done a lot of work at RCA. I actually had a job at RCA. I was signed with Atlantic, Fantasy. I kind of bounced around to find my way, through the business, what would be beneficial to me. And I saw how the majors worked. There's all kind of deals. There's production deals. There's associate label deals. There's direct signing of the artist. There's so many. You can distribution deals. You name it, and I've had it.
Right.
So, but the best way is to actually have your own label. Although all the cost falls on you, you're responsible for manufacturing, promotion, marketing, mailing, responsible for everything. So, you stand to lose money real quick. But if you partner with a different company, you lose percentage. You lose ownership.
Right.
So, you got to think about what's the best thing for you.
Right.
And, that's why I bounce around in so many companies,
Right. I've spoken to people such as like Cheryl Ray, and she has her new release. She was telling me that you was working on putting together, and she said she was actually getting back with you and recording more with you.
Yeah, I did her last 3 projects, and she signed to my label.
Right.
And I did the production. She has a really good voice, and the recordings are good.
Right. And when you decided to you created Society Hill Records, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. When you decided to move that route, it seemed like you had your resources and you kind of knew what you want. At that early age, it also seemed like you knew what you wanted with the business side. Like you said, you knew not to give the publishing away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you watch people kind of, I wouldn't want to say fail, but have a harder time than you, and is that what helped you along the way?
Well, the biggest help was, being at Atlantic Records. I had a pretty big hit with Ronnie Dyson and Blue Magic, Roz Ryan, and Henry Allen was he was the president of Cotillion Records, which was part of Atlantic, and he was a really helpful. He shared the knowledge. He kind of steered me in the right direction. Everett Smith was a national promotion man for Atlantic, and I hired Everett to come with Society Hill.
And I see that Blue Notes project you were part of working on, right? Was that under you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's under Society also? Society Hill, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
How did that come about? Because
I had written some songs years ago for Hal Melvin, because I was going to do Hal Melvin's Blue Notes. And, we got in the studio, and I realized that wasn't going to be a good situation for me. So I just kept the songs. And then, Sugar Bear was with them for a lot of years. And he has a special talent. He sounds really good. So, I decided to, do it with him singing the lead parts.
how do you decide which project you're going to come up with next?
Well, it's beyond the point of, how many pieces we can sell, because you can't really sell music today. And everybody has a playlist. They download the music for free. They stream it for $9 a month. They can stream whatever they want.
Right.
So it's not. I don't do it for the profit or for the money, but it's part of our culture. Our culture is rhythm and rhyme and melodies and lyrics. So, if they keep telling us that, R&B music is dead and there's no place to go with it, but yet you still have Justin Timberlake and Adele and Sam, singing R&B songs on top of the charts. So how are they going to tell us it's dead? Right. But what happens is, people that's in the business, they hear that nonsense and they throw their hands up, so they don't make no more. And then they tell the young boys the only thing they can make is this rap music that's with negativity and talking about cash money and alcohol and the hoes and all this,
Right.
And I'm not knocking that, because there's a lane for everything. But don't tell me that R&B music is dead and then you making millions of dollars on it,
Right.
So I'm not gonna stop making it.
Right. Yeah, it's smoke and mirrors in a sense. In that sense, they like you said, they tell you one thing and present it on the other end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they got so many people that are talented, so frustrated, thinking that the record business is dead, and I sometimes talk to young people, and I go to some of the schools and tell them that, the record business is dead. You can't sell that piece of plastic. You can't sell the vinyl much. That business is dead. But the music business is alive and well. Right. People still want a good song. They want to go to a good show. They want to hear a good singer. They want to hear a good musician. The music business is alive and well. Now, if you are only in it to make money, then you sell some sneakers or soup or you're just trying to sell something. But if you are a creative person, some of the most creative and artistic people in the world are in the subways in New York, doing what they do for nothing, because that's what they do.
Right.
So let's take the talent, and make it appetizing for the general public. Polish it up. If you got a piece of gold, polish it up and display it so people know what it is. And it ain't just a rock; it's a piece of gold.
Right. Do you feel a certain way when musicians sample your music? Because I was, like I said, I was researching, and I seen that you had the credits on Notorious B.I.G. album.
Yeah. So, well, I love it. Go ahead and do what you got to do. I don't like the lyrics that Lil' Kim was using. Mm-hmm. But somebody likes it. Right. But it's not nothing I would do. But sampling is an art form. I don't ever do it. I don't ever use any samples. But everything evolves. It comes from somewhere. So although it's not my taste, I don't knock it. Well, people tell me that there's an impact. It's not something that you feel, you hear it, because I'm constantly in the studio creating and trying to, find special talent. Yeah, I like to work with singers that have an identity in their voice, like a Jane Carn, Patti LaBelle, Ted Mills from Blue Magic, Ronnie Dyson. People when they open their mouth, you know who they are.
Right.
I don't make. I always say this. I don't produce records. I produce artists, and I don't want their record. I don't want to be able to say, well, that's a Butch Ingram production, because it ain't me. I'm trying to put the artist out there, and that's why I was reluctant to do. I don't really do interviews, because it ain't about me. It's about if you got a couple lines or some airtime to expose something, give it to the artist, because they're looking for the limelight. They need the limelight. I'm not looking for it.
Right. And even searching for you, you don't have your face all out there. It seems like since that sound was so big around that time, was it a hard thing to accomplish, or was it kind of natural to be put in those situations? Like you said, you've been in the studio, as far as making those records.
Well, my brothers and I, we did. When Kenny and Leon, when Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff kind of, hit it and was doing pretty good, getting their business straight. Their company, their publishing company was Mighty 3 Music. And my brothers and I, Kenny hired a lot of people, Joe Jefferson and C.D. Brown and Vic Karstoffen and Sherman Marshall. There was a lot of guys that were signed as writers, and which is a tremendous thing, But the writers would go up in the room, and there would be a piano and a little cassette recorder, and so somebody would sing along with the piano when they would write these songs. So my brothers and I would take these little cassette recordings and actually make tracks so they could demonstrate their song, to get other people to use their catalog. And we did that for a while, and we were actually, making tracks and demos of the songs that the writers were writing for Mighty 3 Music. But we had to stop doing that, because we started hearing, the track arrangements that we were doing on the demo coming out as hit records.
Right.
So we stopped doing that, and it's a natural thing when somebody gives you a song and you hear how it goes, you hear the bass line and everything, then that's just part of the song, the way you do it,
Right.
So,
yeah. When I was putting the pieces together, I was trying to figure out how that connection, and that does make sense, how that connection was made at that point. Like you say, you was just doing the work, and and the business was kind of laid out.
Yeah. Well, we had an opportunity to sign with Philly International, but I wouldn't do it. Leon Huff is from Camden. We're from the same place, and the problem was Philly International had a deal with CBS.
Right.
But the main part of the deal was the publishing.
Okay.
So they had to have the publishing, and we weren't giving up the publishing.
Smart.
So, I applaud what Kenny and Leon was doing and support them 100%. It was a great thing they were doing, but, I just had a different vision. I didn't want to give up the publishing.
Was it a feeling, or was it what you knew?
It's what I knew.
Okay.
The ownership is the key.
Yeah.
So if you own your work,
right.
The writers, they would get the Philly International writers would get their weekly check, which wasn't much, but it was more than most of the other companies were doing. Kenny was doing a great thing.
Right.
And, I had made a little money playing ball, and I was teaching school, so I wasn't hurting. Right. And I just wasn't going to give up the publishing.
I was reading how, I'm not sure if this is correct or not, but they were saying that the Philly International was in competition with Motown as far as, like you say, songwriting and just creating music. They kind of put a little pressure on them. Is that not right? Or
well, I mean, it wasn't like a animosity or anything
right.
like that. I mean, Motown had kind of like laid it out. It was really difficult because back then we had 100 radio stations that we considered our stations, the black radio stations. Now, some of them were owned, had black ownership, but most of them just played black music. So the program director, you know, was a black person, and we had the support of those stations because that was our outlet. Because we couldn't go to power stations, you know, was considered pop stations, unless we was top 5 at the R&B stations, you know.
Right.
So, you know, if a record crossed over, we go, you know, we had done something good. But we should have been really just, you know, concentrating and celebrating our own stations that supported us. But anyway, you know, Motown, most of the Motown stuff was crossing over, which it was a good thing for the artist and the company, but you know, it started to water down our base, you know, because we were losing Stevie Wonder, we was losing, not losing them, but you know, they were becoming pop artists, you know, and you know, Philly International came along, you know, with their catalog and their acts, and that kept the black radio stations with a lot of good stuff to play, and because the music was fresh, you know, the main difference between Motown and Philly International was Motown. They had an artist development department,
right?
You know, the Charlie Atkins teach them how to dance, stage presence, you know, everything. You know, there was a program to polish the acts up and give them a livelihood. Where Kenny and Leon, they didn't have that department. They didn't manage the acts. They didn't get involved in you know, so much in the live performance of the act, where Motown did. But consequently, you know, acts like the Four Tops and Marvin Gaye and Smokey and the Miracles and the Temptations and the Jacksons, you know, those groups, they can still work today.
Yeah.
You know, because they're still a draw. The Philadelphia International acts, the only down part of that was it wasn't so much about the act as it was about the sound.
Right.
You know, the sound of Philadelphia, you know, it was so hard sometimes to tell the difference between Archie Bell and or Hal Melvin and you know, I mean, because the music was pretty much the sound of Philadelphia.
Right.
You kind of lost the identity of the acts, you know, and that was the only thing that I think they fell short of, and because those acts, you know, you don't even really, it's hard to find a Philly International act that's active.
Right.
Where the Motown acts, they still out there doing arenas and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Diana Ross can still fill up a stadium.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, not that Philly International was successful, because Teddy was tremendously successful. The first record that I put out went top 10, and that was the Barbarba Mason, Another Man. And that was the first release on Society Hill, and it was let me see, it was Barbarba Mason. Then I did a major Harris. You know, I can't even remember what the next one was, but after the Barbarba Mason, I did a deal with BMG, and I lost a lot of money with BMG because we put the Ronnie Dyson out. You know, BMG was my distributor, and you know, I promoted it up and down the East Coast from Boston to Miami.
Wow.
And when it charted, BMG manufactured product for the entire country.
Uh-huh.
And when it was time for the quarter royalties to come in, I owed them money, and I'm like, wait a minute, how this happen?
Right.
So they said that if you want national distribution, you have to promote your record nationally.
What?
So I learned, well, because the minute they see that it's charted, they send product everywhere.
Yeah.
So, people out in Kansas, they ain't never heard the record. They wasn't going to buy it, but they come with these boxes of records.
Right.
That, so I had to pay for that manufacturing. So every deal at that point, I learned that I have to control the manufacturing.
Right.
So that means, I'm not really looking for major distribution deals because I can't control the manufacturing.
Right.
And it's, a lot of things you learn once you get in it, but you gotta get burned once in a while just to learn.
Yeah, that's the key. You definitely have to, get burnt.
I've been burned a few times. But it's all good. I'm not mad at nobody because I learned a lot.
You can only learn from it in a sense, and like you say, grow from it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how about international? When things go,
most of the business is overseas. They have a different appreciation for the music and the artist.
Right. And
you take Jean Carr, most of her dates are overseas.
Right.
When I was with RCA, we had group Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
And Odyssey, when they went to England, they never came back.
Wow. Back to my roots.
Yeah. Here's New York and back to my roots. Don't tell me, tell her.
Yeah.
I had a big record with them, but, overseas is a little different, and I've sent a lot of artists over there because they can make some money. Right. But, you keep in mind, you can fit the UK inside of Texas. That's how big the United States is. And the United States really doesn't, they don't really appreciate the music, and the attention span is so short. I mean, people in Europe know product that I did that I can't even remember myself. Yeah. They can tell me who played on it, when it was released. I mean, they can tell me all kinds of stuff, and I don't even remember myself. So they're into it, where people in the United States, they could care less.
When you were working with these artists, were you with them in the studio? Is that how? Yeah. Today's different.
Everything. I don't use outside producers. I produce everything. It's all hands on.
Did you have any favorite pieces of equipment?
Well, I started out as an editor because I could splice tape really well. Because that's something my father taught me as a young boy. How to splice and take the dead spots out of the church tapes where before the pastor talk. Doing when they passed the plate and all that dead space, I could cut that out. So I learned how to edit really well. Mm-hmm. And I got a job at RCA Studios as an editor. Mm. And then I went to Atlantic and got my recording, engineer's degree. But I didn't want to. I was an engineer at the Life Studio. I was the head engineer there, where Kool and the Gang was cutting all this stuff. Mm. And so, I cut most of the Kool and the Gang stuff, and did the mixes. I did the mix for Open Sesame that was used in Saturday Night Fever. Wow. And, so I got to the point where I didn't want to do other people's sessions, because when the session went right and everything was good, it was the producers. But when it went bad or they didn't like how it sounded, it was the engineer. So I said, I'm not, I'm sitting there sharing what I know, what you should do this, you shouldn't do that, because the Kool and the Gang was a jazz group. and Gene Red was producing them, and I kept suggesting, I said, listen, if they're playing, they're a jazz group, but you got to make the bass drum a little more profound and put it out front so that people can dance to it.
Right.
And I forced that issue, and when people started dancing the Kool and the Gang, they became top R&B act,
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get no points for that. I didn't get no. They didn't pay me extra for that.
Right.
But as an engineer, I'm sitting there listening to it, and I know what's supposed to happen.
Right.
So I just decided I'm not going to engineer nobody else's sessions but my own. But I use my brothers. If I need keyboards, drums, whatever I need, that they come in and they lay it down because they're probably the best musicians around.
Yeah, yeah. So they still around in the area?
Oh yeah, we work together all the time.
Is it something that made you not want to leave that area?
My family.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a family of, it was 10 siblings. And we're all in the business.
Yeah.
I don't know if you interviewed Wardell Piper, but we just redid her song.
Right.
And, there's just so many acts that I got. I just released another Fat Larry's Band CD.
That's why I wanted to get in touch with you, let you know that I'm on your side in the sense of just, I feel like I owe you one, for better words. Just for your work in the industry. Just.
No, I need you, and people like you because it is very frustrating. I used to be able to go to DAS or Frankie Crocker at BLS and HUR down in Washington, and know that I was going to get some love. They'll do what they can to help me get these records out there.
Right.
But all of that has been taken from us. Clear Channel, and it's just impossible to go to radio now. And there's no outlet. There's no venues anymore. BB King's is closing up. All the venues that we used to have, to present artists are gone. There's no record shops where you can do in stores. So it's really frustrating for a good artist. There's no place to go.
Right.
And if people don't really help to get it exposed, it will be dead.
Right.
Because a lot of times I feel like I'm in the fight all by myself, man. It's like, God, where's everybody? Everybody else love this music, and I appreciate somebody that has a passion for it, love for it, or at least the understanding.
Well, like I said, I like to be around it, and I like to learn. As far as especially the times in which you grew up in was a big time. It was huge. I'm sure you got stories for days to tell. And I
got quite a few. But you know what? Every day is huge, and there's not much going on today that wasn't going on then. People are trying to make sure that they got shelter and food and their health, and they're trying to make a living, But the arts and entertainment is something that we really have to cherish. Otherwise, it will disappear. People like Dinah Washington, Nat King Cole, the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
People that actually paved the way. When Ray Charles, took a stand that he wasn't going to play in venues that were segregated. You can't, black people got to sit upstairs and can't come in the front door. Changes were made because people took a stand and risked something.
Right.
So, I applaud all those. Cab Calloway, I can give you a whole list of people that I really admire the positions that they took to elevate us as a people.
Right.
So it's only like I'm not no radical person, but I know when something is wrong, and when what I see is wrong, I do the best I can to address it. It's hard for one voice to really address it, but I'm not going to ignore it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I get my drive from is to keep this thing going, give artists at least the avenue to get something out and make it available. Now, getting it exposed is something else that's really difficult, because it's so expensive. The way they have it set up is set up that way to keep us under control and shut us out.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to quit.
Right.
So when I find somebody like you that really, you have a feeling for what's going on, how am I going to not talk to you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Come on up and hang out, man. See what we do, meet the brothers and everything,
I promise I'm coming. But